So I'm from Spain, from Madrid. I lived in several countries, Mexico, Italy, US, Germany, and I finished in Brussels. And people ask me, why in Brussels? I was talking to Ruth, and she says, Madrid is a paradise city, right? What takes you to Brussels? And actually it was love. I don't think there's any other way you'll finish in Brussels. It's not possible. It's just love. And my partner, we broke up, so now she's in Spain, I'm in Brussels. But I love it. I really like it. So what I do is I work in a pharmaceutical company. I just changed from a banking, BNP Paribas, to GSK, GlaxoSmithKline. I've been teaching like 10 years for Solvay, for Duke, for Vlerick. I published, I speak in public. So you will see my profile, you say, how this guy is going to talk about being focused? It's impossible. He's doing so many things. So, and I'll explain how I became to the topic. It's something that, just to be sure, I usually talk more on business side. So I talk to executive business people. What I will do today is a bit of mix of personal thinking, so that you think about yourself and your level of focus, and also translated that to business. If you're leading a team or a business or a large organization, it's applicable too. So one of the reasons I tried to understand focus was because I was totally unfocused, and that was very upsetting. I could not understand how my brain was working. I don't know if this happens to you, but this is a true story. Which I'll refer later on, is I kind of like yoga. It was at one phase of my life which I tried yoga. It's called hot yoga. It's Bikram yoga, so it's in a sauna. It's really, really, really hot, the sauna, and it's 90 minutes. So you go in, you cannot get out. The Indian guys who are the yogi masters, they don't let you out. So what was very interesting to me is that I tried to go to yoga after work. So what was happening is I was taking the stuff for the yoga in my car, leaving the office around 5:30 to be there on time at 6. And between 5:30, at the moment I entered the car, my brain was saying, don't go to yoga. Forget to go to yoga. Go to Place Luxembourg, have a drink, go to Full Circle. It's much better than going to suffer in the sauna for 90 minutes. That was my brain. I had the dialogue. I don't know if it happens to you, but there's a dialogue between your brains. I don't know where it happens. Go to the good thing. This is really, really good. You will not see the benefits now, but I promise it will happen. And then the instant pleasure. It's go to a beer, it's nice weather, go to Place Jordan, it's Wednesday, go to Chatelain, there's a lot of people there. And this happens for half an hour. And often when I was getting to the door of yoga, I was turning and going to have a drink with my friends. But if I was strong enough to push me to the yoga, it was very tough for a few minutes. And then it felt really good when I was done. So somehow I realized that our brain is wired, pushing us to the activities which are simple, easy, quick wins. And actually the ones that matter are the tough ones, are the ones that you need to force yourself. So I did more research, and there's one research which says that after 7 seconds, so your brain moves very, very fast, especially today, even faster. So every 7 seconds, your brain will switch ideas, normal state. If I would be boring, your brain will be already somewhere else. So if you're something that captures you, your brain, not you, your brain, it will be connected to me, to that activity. So if not, the brain will keep jumping to one thing, to another. It can go up to 50,000 thoughts in a day. Imagine how tiring that is. So it was very impressive to learn how the brain works and how can you manage to focus that. There's another research from Harvard. They look at people who were focusing, and they say that in this research, 200,000 people research for those who have a company. At any point in time, 50% of the people are not focused. Their brain is somewhere else. They might be in the office, they might be working for you, but they're not. Their brain is thinking about the night, the movie they're going to watch tomorrow, the party they're going to do on Friday, the holidays they're going to take. Their brain is not present, okay? 50%. I used to work for a big bank, 12,000 people. I had access to the CEO, Max Yadot of BNP Paribas. I say, listen, Max, according to research, if now, 11 o'clock a.m., Friday, 50% of the 12,000 people, that's 6,000 people, they're not working. They're not working. And even more, because if you guys at the top, you're not focused, and you let the people take their decisions, they will tend to do the easy things, which is internet, WhatsApp, it's Facebook, it's LinkedIn. These are very instant, quickly things to do. So it has a big impact in productivity. So I researched more, and I came to the concept of focus by understanding. There's a bit of misunderstanding of what is focus, and what you can see is there's in Google now a new research option, which is the number of times a word comes in books. So they've digitalized all the books from the last 200 years, so you can put words. And what you all know and what we all hear a lot is about communication, leadership, team spirit, motivation, but you don't hear about focus. It's just very, very, very recent. And actually, if you would do that in the Google Ngram, it's called, and you put these words, focus only came to be very popular in the last 10, 20 years. And that has a consequence. It's a consequence with the technology. We've been hijacked by technology. We're driven by phones, internet, Gmails, all these things. So you see it's very interesting how technology goes up and the word focus come up. But nobody told me that focus was important. Nobody. I loved football. I'm a big Real Madrid fan. And I just love football. But my mother was saying, forget about football, Antonio, just study. It's much better. Study. Forget. So I was, again, trying to be focused, and my parents, the societies, no, just have a career. It's much better for you. So you're competing against many, many barriers. So there's 3 types of focus, that I've identified. One focus is about concentration. It's active attention. You're forcing to listen. Yes, this is very, very, very hard. Remember the 7 seconds? If you don't force yourself, what will happen is your brain gets tired and wants something quick. The key is that often you don't decide. It's your brain who decides. Yeah, he gets bored and you have other priorities. So it's very important to connect. So the concentration. And one of the things I would like to ask you later on is how much time you spend, let's say 60 minutes in the last days, working on one task without interruption. Sleeping doesn't count. How many times did you spend in the last, what is it today, Thursday? The last 4 days, 1 hour, just for you, doing something important. Yeah? And I will make you think a bit on that, but it's very interesting. And you have different type of activities, and you will notice that most of us, including me, that hour will be watching a football game, or laying down on the sofa, or going for a drink again. Not on what I'm preparing this presentation, for example. That I will put away and do last minute. Why? Yeah, so it's very interesting. I want that we reflect a bit on that and try to force yourself. And the research from Harvard is very interesting because they connect the time that you're focused with performance. So people who are focused, they perform better, almost twice as one, their mind is wandering and switching and back again to the presentation and switching again, twice as much, at least, performance. In a team, whatever you do in your business, in sports, in music, twice as much. And the interesting thing about this, which I didn't know, Harvard confirms that there's a link between focus and happiness. So we're all talking about happiness, the secrets of happiness. One way to be happy is by focusing. And I'll talk about later in the other type of focus is focusing on your passion. That's very, very important. So focus is linked to happiness, but it requires discipline. Remember, our brain will go for easy tasks. So I'm Spanish, I hate discipline. I really, really hate. So it's a big battle every day to try to get focus and do what matters. So that's one thing. The focus is the concentration. And one thing, we're kind of already mature people, so we've seen many things. So we get bored very, very quickly. And the key is how to get attention. Yeah? I'm trying to get your attention for half an hour. Imagine, just thinking about me. Forget, you don't care about the time, you don't care about your friends, your family, your mobile, your work. Half an hour just here with me. And I can act differently. I can be silent 30 seconds without looking at your phone or WhatsApp. Because I have your attention. It's a different way. I start with a story. If you're an executive, you're managing a business, you're making a big transformation project, if you always say the same message, people will get bored. They know it. You need to capture their attention. So it's very important to be different. Like kids, we like to be surprised. We also like, even more the adults, we have to be surprised. Otherwise, forget it. The brain knows the way. Okay, so that's one thing, very, very important. The second type of focus is on what you decide to do with your life, your career, your area of expertise. Back to my mother, you know, she told me, forget sports, forget football, you will never have a career. I might be playing today in Real Madrid, so I would have been so happy. But no, I finished my career, I don't really know what to do next. I chose economics because it was kind of the time. So it's hard to find where to focus and hard to find your passion. I talked to the young professionals before. Most of the questions were, how do I find my passion? And how can I know if that's my passion, what I'm doing today? And unfortunately, there's no secret there. It's something that you find across the way. I tell you, you won't believe that my passion is public speaking, but how it started. I was totally shy. I could not stand up in front of anybody, really, really shy. And I said, no way, I need to push myself. I like this, I think it's good to share. And at the time I worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers 10 years, and they're good to send you to conferences. So they sent me to a conference, and I don't know, I think in Prague, and I was seeing lots of speakers, and I was not very impressed with what we were saying. I thought, wow, if I'm a speaker, then I look smarter. Yeah, now I'm like you, but I look like, wow, this guy must know something. And so people will come to you, and it's a way of standing a bit out. The other reason I wanted to be a speaker, it was because I could travel for free. If they ask, hey, come to Brazil and speak, yeah, of course I will come. And it became my passion. I didn't know, it just was something I liked, but suddenly I really put effort, and from being very shy to just working. Every time I speak, and I speak for 10 years, big conference, I'll speak in a few weeks in the parliament with some politicians, I try something else. And today, I always use these famous PowerPoint slides. It's the first time, I've done a bit, but I speak 30 minutes without slides. I was thinking this morning, why, Antonio, do you do this? You could go to Aperitivo Milano in Jeu d'Hiver and relax. And why do you push yourself to try something else? And I kind of like it. It's that focus on your passion. And I believe everybody has an area of focus, area where you can excel, where you really like. And it's very, very important for yourself and for your teams. When you're managing teams, when you're managing people, it's really important to try to find that spot where you are happy, where you deliver value, where you're recognized. And once you reach that, you don't actually care that much about what people think. It's more your self-satisfaction. So very important. Nobody teaches you. Nobody teaches you the importance of focus, on spending time on the difficult things. Nobody teaches you to look for your passion and develop and try to find that. And it can be setting up your business. It can be changing the world. It can be politics. It can be helping the poor people. But we all have that. We all have that. One question I asked me is, what will you do if you will not need money to live? Where will you spend the time? And I would probably be teaching and speaking. And so it does make sense. Later on, I realized when I've been quite a lot in speaking, and I realized that there are some people making 50,000 euros per 1 hour. I'll get, I think, a bit less from Full Circle. We need to negotiate. We need 10% I give you. A bit less, 40,000 will be fine. But you can live from it. I didn't know. So if you're the Kaplan, you talk to high-level people, politicians, of course, they make the 200,000. I can tell you, I work in an association. We try to bring Michael Porter, is very famous in strategy, the guru in strategy from Harvard. We try to bring him from a convention. We have big one in the US, and we call Michael. Michael, do you want to be that date? It had to be like 9 months in advance, and how much you charge? 200,000. I say, okay, Michael, yes, and it's 90 minutes. No more, no less. Everything is time. Fine, Michael, we want you. We'll pay first class services. And Michael says, no way, I don't fly first class. You need to pay private jet. Private jet. Not enough. So that's kind of the level I'm trying to reach. But really, it's just a way, and I think what I tell the people, the youngers, is doesn't matter where you reach, is that you enjoy while you go there, and that's very important. So find your way and keep the focus in a way or another. There's always very important, and it's about making choices. I decided to not be many things. I decided to be one or two and try to be, you don't need to be the best to feel good. You need to be good and recognized, and that's it. So focus on your attention. Like now, you're paying attention for already like 20 minutes. So and it feels good if you're doing something that you enjoy and you learn. We are curious by nature. You will not see the time difference. You don't need, because we're connected. The second, find your area of focus. And the third one, which is very, very important, the focus on the objectives, the objective that you set for yourself. As a business, as a person, we love to start projects. We hate to finish. We're really bad of starting projects. A new idea, we all love new ideas. But actually getting that idea done, delivering what you promised to do, is very hard. So you'll start a project. I will start going to the gym. It's January, and you know how long? I went 3 times over. All these kind of objectives, the less you have, the better it is. I use some people like Steve Jobs in my research, and he was a master of saying no. He says that one of the biggest decisions that you have to do as an executive or as a person is say no. It's the most difficult. This is what I was telling Max Jadot, the CEO of BNP Paribas Fortis, is you have too many objectives. What is really the one single objective? What do we need to achieve? What the 12,000 people should know? Where are we going to get? What's the finish line? We all like finish line. If I'm working on something, there's no finish line, I'm not working. I'm just spending my time. I need to have a finish line. If you're in a business, what's your finish line? 1. Yes? And it's very hard. I do this exercise with executives. I ask them, put the top 3 priorities for your business. There might be 10 people. What happens when I get the list of all the people? There's no 3 priorities. There's 15, 18. So if you are at the top of your business, you're not focused, forget about the rest. I told you, people will do something else. Very, very important to make choices. Very, very important. There's a research, I love the research. But if you set yourself 1 to 3 objectives, there's good chances that you make 2 to 3. If you set between 4 and 10, there's good chances you make 2 to 1. If you have a list and you have more than 10 objectives as a team or for yourself or for your life, there's good chances you make 0. Okay? So, but what's the problem here? You're taking decisions. You might miss the big opportunity. You don't want to miss that big opportunity. So it's tough, but I think that's what executives, that's about our life. I make a lot of decisions, which I fail too. And one thing which I teach at universities, failure is great. Failure is like a mini MBA for free. It's just learn it, and it's painful. You come up and you come stronger. Should look for failure, and it's not bad. It's really actually very good. If you get the learnings and you come up stronger. So don't be afraid of taking decisions, and there always have to be a path. There needs to be a way. The dots need to connect. So I think that's the other part which is really important. One issue with focus. So you've seen 3 types of focus. Ideally, you should be good at the 3. You should be able to concentrate, spend 5 minutes only. It goes fast. Spend time. One question I had before is, can you be focused like 24 hours a day? Of course not. You'll die. Yeah, so you need to spend time wasted. Throw it away. Do whatever you feel like. But put a couple of hours a day on your work, on your passion, on what you like. It should not be difficult. It's just getting the habit. Okay, the other thing which is very important is, like I said, make choices about where you want to be and what you really like. As if you're a business, I like a quote from Bill Gates and say, if you want to be a great company in software, just be a software company. Don't try to do everything, just be very focused. Steve Jobs, when you know the story of Steve Jobs, he set up the business, he hired the Pepsi-Cola CEO, the Pepsi-Cola CEO fired him. He came 10 years later, and he really focused Apple to make it to. He says, I just want 2 laptops, 2 desktops. That's it. The rest you kill. You stop. How many times have you stopped a project on purpose? No, you just let them fade away, and we'll see. So that's the 3 levels. One thing which is key is the discipline. It's very, very important that you force yourself to be disciplined. And one project which I put as an example of focus that drives your thoughts and you make it successful. We all, or most of us, have gone through this project, and it's a project that you plan like 12, 18 months in advance, and it's never late. You are always on time. This project is called a wedding. I don't know how many of you have been through a wedding, or maybe 2, but you never miss the deadline. Never, never. I've never seen a wedding saying, listen guys, we're a bit late, we're running late, we have problems there, we'll be next week, not this week. Or we start in Saturday instead of Sunday. No, it's planned. And the people who have been in a wedding, it's in your head from the moment you decide to go ahead. For 18 months, you think, I don't know, every minute you think about your wedding. You're so focused on it. You're just focused. And you need to think about these projects. Which projects do you really are so passionate that you think, you work, you imagine them in your life? Do you have them? In your business, which are these projects which will move you to the next level? You and your team, your companies, there's not many. So I really like that you think later on, and for me it's this speaking, and you know my focus is becoming like Michael or Porter, or just speak and do it for free and join and just sharing, having a good time. But this is kind of my focus, and I try to work on that and stretch it. Everybody has. You just need to make the choice and move on. And has a big impact for business. If you're not focused and all these things, you don't apply them at the top of your business, the rest will not follow. You will not have happy people. People work in a company, they're happy if there's this vision and there's this focus. So I wanted to finish there. I'll do a little exercise later on also how focus works with change. We're living in a world of change. By the way, I talk about, it's very famous, the word change now, and how you manage, how you go through change. And I told you about the wedding. That's a very good project that we all are very focused. There's another big thing that some of us go is divorce. Divorce, you might have a date where you get the papers, but the divorce continues. Not because on Monday there's the things with the kids, there's still a lot of frustration, it went wrong. It can last 7 years after the project is completed. So change is very, very important on keep the focus, and I'll talk a little bit about that. So for the debate, we thought a couple of questions. I'd like to think about this kind of, where do you focus on your day-to-day? Which do you spend 1 hour on what kind of activities? Are these the activities that you like, or you're forced, or you just enjoy spending time? What kind of these activities in last 3-4 days you spent an hour? And discuss it with your people, and then we'll have a talk. Was it in having just fun, hobbies, or actually work? And some people who are very successful, they do spend a lot of time focused on work. And the other question I had is bring it a bit high level, more on how can focus, or you can disagree. I don't have the truth, but is focus a good way to improve the way the society, the way we work? I had a very interesting question. Oh, I love your concept. It does make sense, but we're living in a nice part of the world. What happens with focus in Africa, or is that applicable? So just bringing a bit high level on global scale. Does it matter? Does it matter? One example I want to finish with, and this we all went through. You remember the euro? When Europe went to the euro, we all knew it. We knew the date. We knew the benefits, although they sold it very well. But the whole Europe knew the date and knew what was going to happen. I've not seen many projects like that anymore. So when I talk to politicians, what's next? Where is the finish line? What's your finish line? That everybody, no matter it was Polish, French, whatever, everybody knew about the euro. These are very well communicated, focused projects. So that was the second kind of questions, is how can we, or if there's a way to use this for bringing us to the next level, to have a better society, more happy people. This social pressure. I had social pressure from my parents, my colleagues, my peers. I would have loved to play football. Is it good, that social pressure? Can you have a society where everybody just works on their passion, focus on their passion? I don't have an answer. If I have an answer, or you have, we'll write a book and we'll start traveling and speaking in public. Okay? So, private jet. Yeah, she liked the private jet. We'll go together. So I think what's next?
Right, I think we're going to have our food. Our main course will arrive in a few minutes.
We kept half an hour, we spoke?
We kept
wow.
half an hour, well done.
I didn't realize.
We got a little discussion about the check to sort out right now. But,
okay.
I think you've got enough to chew over, so food will come soon, and thanks very much, Antonio, for giving us some.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.